Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. My name is Matthew Brenner, and today I am with Master Von Schmeling, who has 49 martial arts schools, as well as my brother, Solomon Brenner, runs Action Karate, where we have over 30 schools. And today you're going to hear the kind of like the behind the scenes of what people talk about when they think of like multi-school operations. So today I'm kind of just giving them the platform to just chat, and you guys get to be kind of like the fly on the wall. So thank you guys for being here today. do you, do, do you, no, again, you go. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you usually purchase the buildings? Do you usually lease them? What kind of terms do you look for? And then, have you ever had to try to get out earlier than 5 years? Have you ever tried to get out at year three and then just paid a penalty? Or Hmm. so, so Solomon, I know like your philosophy is a little bit different than his. You lease when you have to, but for the most part, you prefer to purchase. So why do you feel differently? Or why is your style different, you think, than Master Munchmelling? Like risk. Is that what you're trying to say? Like you want to have less risk the older you are? Oh, you don't give an F. Okay, yeah, yeah. You can curse if you want to. Yeah, yeah, go for it. I mean, also no drinking, no smoking, exercise, and uh, yeah, I would say just exercise and being around kids and moving. I feel like is what makes you look so young. You know, how many people go through their whole life without drinking or smoking, right? That's like such a small percentage. I feel like just that ages you really quickly, right? So, Master Much, if you're gonna get on the golf course and go 18 rounds with Solomon or 18 holes, yeah, 18 holes, maybe 18 rounds, maybe you go a lot. It's a marathon. Uh, what kind of questions do you ask someone like him who's a multi-school operator? Like, what are you curious about? Well, all the logistics and stuff. Yeah, because I feel like logistics about when you guys are gonna hang out can be talked afterwards, because that's pretty easy. That's okay. That's okay. Solomon, if you were on the golf course with him, obviously, and you want to get like one thing out of it, if you want to go to his convention, get one thing out of it, like what would you want to know, or what would so what do you think your so you can compare because you just went over your training his training schedule, right? So if we're comparing size of training schedule or depth of training schedule, what does your week typically look like, or your day typically look like, Professor Brenner, in terms of training the team and training the staff? What do you think Master Bunch Milling would want to know? It might be a YouTube video that's really good that you want people to watch. Yeah. And then the one thing you so what? How do you guys? I'm going to ask you, Master von Schmeling first, and then Professor Brenner. I'll ask you after. Uh, when you guys get together and you're talking maybe to another large martial arts school operator, which is only what a dozen in the whole United States, maybe 2 dozen people that run organizations of larger than what 5 schools. Do you think I'm right about that? There's not many people that run in the United States larger than. Yeah. So how do you guys think, Master Von Schmeling, you can answer this first. How do you think differently than someone who runs maybe one school or 2 schools that underperforms? How do you think differently? Hmm. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Professor Benner, what about you? How do you think differently? All right. That was beautiful. Last question. Master Von Schmeling, I'll ask you first. If you had one skill set that you can improve that would dramatically increase your business, and you could wave a magic wand and you had this one skill set, it would make you instantly better. What skill set would that be? I'm talking about you personally. That's how you feel? Like create like sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So
Thank you very
first of all,
much.
I'm a super fan of Mr. Von Schmeling, and you may not know this, but I visited your school, and I don't remember exactly
So
where it was,
maybe
but I
like
do
make an
remember.
association
It
or
was in a
something.
shopping center that was kind of built for kids, and there was like a little
I'm just
tiny
messing with
door, along with like the regular size door. There's like a little kid door,
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Oh my god, this guy's awesome! Like this is genius." And so I've been a fan for I don't know how long that was. That was probably 25 years ago.
Yeah,
And
that was the Waterford Lake School, and that was a Solomon. It's a Solomon. They opened big shopping centers. Actually, that school was is funny because people like Stephen Oliver. Um, at that time when I had that school, Stephen Oliver, Stila Valley, they cover, and I don't remember who else they came to visit, and then Stephen Oliver and they cover. We went to Starbucks and Stila Valley. I don't know if you remember him.
of course, I know Steve Valley.
Yeah,
I would the first school I ever visited was his
yeah,
school in Syracuse.
yeah. And he stayed there watching the class. And at that time, my chief instructor, which today is the chief instructor of my uh, instruction, is now is Master Neri. And that time it was Mr. Neri, and he was like 19 years old, maybe 20, and he's Brazilian. And Stila Valley uh, stayed and watching him, and he was so amazed how these kids having so many students. And Steve Oliver and Dave Kovar, we came to Starbucks, and then we were talking about multiple schools and things like that because I
Right,
know them for a
right.
long time. They were icons always, and I admired them. And then Stila Valley coming back, he say, "I doing everything wrong. I doing everything wrong." And then he say, "Why?" The kid teaching all these classes, and I killing myself teaching classes
Absolutely,
myself. How you had
absolutely.
these
Yeah, I had
kids teaching
a coaching
classes?
client
And that was the
who I
same
was
school that you
helping,
went. And
and
I just moved that school
he said, "Yeah,
this year, actually, or was it
our
last year? I
membership was
think
up
I
with
moved it
him,
to another
and
place
he
because
doubled his revenue, like
they
actually doubled. And
renewed.
this
They
is
sold
6 months
the
later, and
school,
it
and they
was
renew all
maybe 8 months later. Now it's
and they
half of
only
what it
want
was."
national.
And
And
I'm
I
like,
thought I
"Well, what
was
do you think
national
changed?" And he was
brand, but
like, "Well,
I
I'm
wasn't
not
qualified
sure
for them
exactly,
to
but we
be
were
a.
doing everything you told
Yeah.
us to do just on
And
our
then
own. It
thank
wasn't
you.
working." And I was like, "Did
How
you do
was it for
this?"
you
He's
to
like, "No."
come? I'm
"Did
sorry.
you do this?" "No." "Did you do
I'm
this?" "No."
sorry.
I was like, "Okay, well,
Yeah, go ahead.
maybe not." Right. So, Mr. Brenner, I want to respect your time. So I know you need to wrap up, but just one skill set, if you can
No,
improve, would totally change things for you.
I I believe on listen, okay?
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Because I want to have
Storytelling?
the
Does that mean motivation?
flexibility to move if I have to. um, I know that when you read and I read the comments of people, oh, this is the best thing I do is own my own building. Yeah, if you're gonna be there and you are, but my personality, like we talked before, I think Mr. Brenner, Matthew, that it's had to do with personality. I don't like to stay in one place. There are people that I don't like to be in control of everything, and then I want to spend. I want to. I mean, I go tomorrow. I go to San Jose, and then I go to New Zealand. I gone to Samoa. I gone to Hawaii. I mean, I don't like to stay in one place. Then if I buy a building, like even my headquarters here, this is like I don't know how much. It's like 20,000 square feet, and it's 2 floors. Nice, the beautiful lake behind everything. But I bought this more not to. I bought for my headquarters just because it was a good thing to own it. And we tried a couple times to put a school here, and the school it's not working as good as other places because here I have the traffic is a main street, but it's not a neighborhood that I will open a martial arts school anyway. With the when I lease in a place that can be 2,000, 2,400 square feet, if the shopping center, the area they moving, whatever, I can move. And I signed for 5 years with 5 year option, and then if the area is not that convenient or the shopping center is not that good, I can move, and that's the reason I do it. Yes, a few times, especially during COVID.
Mhm.
I
Thank you for sharing
negotiate
that. And as
leases,
a
and during
reminder, I
COVID,
think maybe 2 years ago,
I
I actually
closed
tried
five
that. Went to the
schools
government
when
website,
COVID
applied, never heard
came,
back, said their
and
emails, called.
one of them
It did
in
exactly
San
that.
Jose,
Decided to get
California,
posting
that
on the
they
government
didn't want to
website
negotiate. Had
for
to pay like a couple $100,000. Um,
yeah, obviously not.
Here
Honestly, I
in
forgot
Central
about.
Florida, I closed one.
Yeah,
My first
yeah.
school that was in Winter Park. The owner of the first school was my student and has a big shopping center. And then his
Yeah.
daughter was
Well,
my
thank you
student, and
guys
then
for
she
being on
worked for
here and
me.
doing this.
Then
If you're listening
the
and
manager didn't want
you want to
to
reach
help
out,
me at all. He said, "Oh,
Master
you
Von
had
Schmeling,
many
how do
schools, you
people
have
find
money,
you?
you need to pay." Then I called the owner. I say, "Sarah, I mean, I've been with you for almost 30 years." And she said, "Whatever you want, Master von Schmeling." And I pay for like 90 days and they let me out. But other ones, I pay like a year or 2 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
If I have to.
And what about you,
Yeah.
Professor Brenner? How do they find you?
All right, well, let's start with he has 49 schools. We
Cool.
have 30
Thank you guys
something.
for being on here. Have a great
So
day.
he's
Bye,
done a
guys.
lot, obviously, awesomely right.
Don't
And
leave.
I think this school is almost completely the people running it. Doesn't almost matter where it is. Like we've had people that
Absolutely.
with, that would seem to be in worse locations that are crushing it, and people that are in better locations that maybe aren't crushing it as much. So I think it all has to do with that. And then I'm sure both of you have read the same books I have about McDonald's being a real estate company, and I've also been to a bunch of investment seminars with exceptionally wealthy people, and they talk about all the time if you can have a business that also owns the real estate, it's huge. And it also, like, for COVID for us, like, we controlled, like, our rents are so low because we've owned the properties for so long. And like, what I feel like one of the things I'm good at is negotiating. Like, I'm not afraid. I don't care, what the offer is. Doesn't make any difference to me. Um, so I think that is also was a huge advantage to us, right? And most of our rents are lower than the national average, and it also doesn't go up like 3% a year or whatever the landlord tries to do.
Yeah. And because I will never claim that I'm a good negotiator or even in a finance. I has a lot to do with personality. Get to both of you are much younger than me. Get to one moment in your life that and I don't know if I can say this and this, but the older you are, the less you don't give up. You know the words, all right? The less you you.
Yes,
No, no, no. I was gonna say that
it's a,
you
it's
don't
a
get a
it's an F word.
F.
He doesn't. Yeah.
You don't get a F. The older you are more into what made me feel good. Now, in the investment, I've been with Tony Robbins for a long time, and with Ray Dalio and many of these major. I just saw here. I was in the secret, and they say to an investment is to have 15 non-correlated assets. All right, and also they give you like, okay, how much of your portfolio should be liquid, how much should be hard asset, how much should be other companies. And I trying to follow Ray Dalio is a famous hedge fund person. I trying to follow their step, and and they go like, don't ever owe more than 35% on real estate, for example. And why? Because real estate can be a hard asset that is fantastic, but it's not liquid money. Then I don't say my approach is better than yours, but if I can take that money and instead put it on the real estate, I can put on something, or somebody coming and say, hey, it's an opportunity. And it happened to me a few times. One of the reasons I have many schools is because sometimes I just write a check for $75,000 cash. The other person, if they had real estate, they need to go to their bank and ask for, I can write a check for $2 million tomorrow, and they can cash it. And this was a lesson that I learned from a friend of mine that he came to visit in my office, and he's a financial advisor, and he say, Master von Schmeling, can you write me a check for $3 million? And this was like 6 years ago. I say, you know, and can you write me a check for $1 million? I say, I will need couple weeks. And then can you write me a 500? And say, well, I will need at least a week. He said, then you don't have any money. I said, what do you mean? If you cannot write a check, you don't have money. And I go like, oh, he touched my ego a little bit, maybe my vanity or whatever, and say, and then he's a friend of mine that I play golf with, and now I know I have liquid assets, and liquidity is important for create wealth, but there are also personality traits, like my risk factor is much higher than other people, and then they invest more on real estate when the risk factor is because real estate is always do good no matter what. And yes, you can take mortgage on your real estate, you can take line of credit on your real estate. I think McDonald or Mr. Solomon Brenner doing great with that. It's just not my personality to put everything on real estate. Also, before, Master Silverman.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, we used to be partners and we start real estate together. Actually, he's a major investor in real estate now. You know,
Yep.
I don't know how much martial art he does now, but anyway, and we start together, and he's one of those persons that know how to invest on real estate. It's just not my personality to be in real estate negotiating and checking. Oh, I get annoyed by that. Then I delegate that part because I just don't enjoy it. Like I say, I'm older now. I do what I enjoy. I don't do just for money. Anything just for money, I don't do it. I don't know if
All
this
right. So
is.
tell me if you don't. Can I ask a question? Do you mind, Mr. Renner? Tell. You own all the schools 100%, or do you have any partners, or how does it work?
No, we have 49 schools. Um, we have 47 of them that I own the majority. I have schools that I own 51%. I have a school that I own 90%. I have a school that I own 100%. My goal was to see if every one of my instructors that they prove themselves that for at least 3 years they are financially profitable, they can own part of that. You call that entrepreneurial. You intro and the that and I give that possibility. And there are people that has terrible experience with partnership. I had a fantastic one or two that didn't work out, but they still my friend, or they still. I mean, but I have a really good experience having partners, and I love them, and I'm part of their family. They're part of my family. We do trips. They come into the convention. I go tomorrow. I stop by San Jose, California, with one of my partners in San Jose that run the three schools there, and my other partner from San Diego gonna fly there, and we're gonna play golf, and we're gonna have some dinner, and we're gonna teach some classes. We're gonna interact, and I love to have partners. And yeah, we don't have only two schools that they are not. I don't own. I give a license. Is one of my first when I've gone through divorce. And one moment I want to be loyal to the people that helped me. And I gave a license. I sold to them my schools, and they just pay up. There's two of them. Then everything else I have partners, and I'm very glad to do it that way.
Uh, were most of them homegrown, or how did you find your partners?
Can you ask that again, please?
How did you find most of your partners? Were they like students of yours, or
Yes,
were they
the,
part of
the
like the ATA, or how
majority.
that?
No, the majority of them they are my students that they become instructor and they run in a school. And in one moment, I can sell them 10% of the partnership, or then they go 20% or 30%, 40 up to 49%. I have cases also where other people they own a school and they gave me 51% because they come in, for example, to my convention. They hang out with us and they go like, oh my gosh, what can I do to be partnered with you? How can how I mean, we create a culture that is very attractive. I'm sure you do the same. That's the reason you have many people. uh, I think it's a major, I would say, need in our industry, and the martial art industry, to have a culture that is fun and is financially rewarding, and it's not so much like, so I don't know, it's sometimes so self-serving from the seniors. I love my people, and they wanted to be part of that, and we created an environment uh, that people want to be part of that. And I have many, at least 10 schools in the country that they gave me 51% of their school to be part of Victory.
So For those schools, they were somewhere else in the world. They already had instructors, and they came and hung out at your convention.
Many ways. I told Matthew and Mr. Brenner that one of my first partners outside the victory was Jesse Elder, who used to be a very well known martial
I
art.
know Jesse Elder. I've been to his school.
Yeah, well, that was before he would become my partner.
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah. And he's one of those person that will come to Jacksonville to take classes with Master Clubbing with Fred Martins and Master Clark, and
I was
those.
there as well.
Yeah. And then he will come to visit me. Actually, Fred Martin told Mr. Elder, if you really want to do something different, you should go to visit Master von Schmeling because because the culture the way I create, and Mr. Elder will come, and then we become acquaintance. And one time um, he said, what can I do to be victory? And I say, you need to give me 51% of your school. And he had three schools in San Antonio. He say, okay, that was a big step for him. And I say, I can guarantee you can make the same money as a base, and then you're gonna have 49% of every profit we make, and we're gonna grow to 5, 6, 7 a school. And he say he trusts on me, and we did it. And he was a great asset, and he brought other people, and we grow to 8 schools. And one moment he say, I want to pursue my career on life coaching, and he's a major life coaching right now, and he sold me his portion, and he's super happy. Every so often I find him, we meet somewhere, I stay on his, during COVID I stay on his, he was living at the W Hotel and and Austin, and my wife and supposed to me, we had COVID, and we were driving from Arizona because we cannot fly, and we stopped in his uh place and he didn't care about COVID either, you know. And he's if you know him, you know how cool he is.
And he's a great speaker.
Yeah, very good. And trainer. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah, we went to Texas to go visit him. I don't know, 20 something years ago. It was
Is
awesome,
that
without a
right?
doubt.
You look so young to do all this already.
Well,
That's
thank you.
that.
So, a lot of sunblock, a good filter. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, then that's the reason I'm 40 and I look like 60.
All right. So, by the way, as a side note, you look great. As a side note, now that I know that you golf,
Very
anytime you want to
much.
anytime you want to get together and golf, I love golfing. I'm not
Oh,
good at it,
really? Are you pretty
but
good on it? No?
I'm not good, but I play a lot.
Same. The-
18 holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18. He'll
Yeah.
definitely win 18 rounds.
I'm curious that you do a license or you did a franchise. And and if you're a franchise, who buy your franchise?
So we were licensed up until about 2 or 3 years ago. And then we got convinced that we were going to be the next like premier martial arts. So we switched over to franchising, and plus the paperwork makes more sense. Before that, we also did the 5149. We did that for a long time as well.
Okay.
And now we are a franchise, and who buys our franchise? Our own instructors,
Yeah.
our students. The whole model with Premiere, which I was a huge fan of. I thought Mr. Vanover is just obviously intelligent and charismatic and all that, and it's just too scary for me. I need to have I need to know the people that they're going to do the right thing. And we visited a bunch of the schools, and I think they were selling franchises to people that probably shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
I think he got kind of roped into that situation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
I know him. I consider him a friend. I know him for a long time. Um, my issue with the franchise, not an issue. My reason I don't franchise is because the people that can pay me for it, they don't know martial art, and the people that know martial art, they cannot pay me for it. And if
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
For us, it's literally just a piece of paper that we did
yeah,
because we thought we would go in that direction, and it was also if we were doing licensing, we were told that really should we be doing franchising. So it's really just a separate piece of paper, but we operate the exact same way we always have.
Yeah. The main reason I don't do license because many people say, "Well, can you just license? I pay you $3,000 a month. I pay you $4,000 a month and do license." I don't want it to because I have a I didn't have many bad experience, but I had experience where we trying to tell when you have a license, you cannot tell what to do to the people legally, all right? If not, you
Right.
infringe on the franchise. And again, I enjoy having a partner. I don't mind to take the majority of the risk because I only choose partners that I will enjoy going to play golf or have a dinner or you know I like a good tequila. I like my martinis and I like a good lifestyle. Then I want to be with that person somewhere, um, if they are my partners. Because what happened in the martial art world is what I see a lot is that the the senior has a good lifestyle and the junior is like a like a peasant, and I want everybody to walk next to me, not behind me. I
Agreed.
don't have
Yeah,
ego.
we have
I mean,
literally we have the exact same philosophy. Our
yeah,
people, a lot of times when we're at seminars, some people will ask me to not mention how much money our instructors and partners make because the school, there are people that work for them don't make that amount, and there's school owners that don't make. I mean, not even close.
yeah,
It is embarrassing.
yeah. And I mean I don't know how much your people make, but last year I have one of our top partners that makes 600,000, and I was very proud because she's young and another make 400, 500, another make 300. A few that then and they trying to emulate my lifestyle, and I hope that because what is the lifestyle mean is you work, you delegate the task, you supervise, you don't delegate the responsibility, you train people and you grow and you grow and you have a quality of life. That's what I want for everybody.
We have
I
people
don't
doing
want
the
to be.
exact same thing, and it feels so good when you can say like, "Hey,
Absolutely.
this guy made 500,000, this guy made four
Yeah,
hundred thousand,
yeah,
working with
I
us."
love it. Yeah, I love it. Then I feel like I can contribute, and that's the reason that maybe my growth is much more and look like yours too is much more organic, but I'm okay with that. I'm not in a rush. I don't try to show everybody that I'm better than anybody. I feel like I understand how to lead people, and I want the best for the people. Yeah, eventually, you asked me before, what is my goal? 300 schools is very possible. Um, how we do that now? I mean, just in the last 2 months, I opened 5 of them. That means is and you know, I bought like 4 of them. They are former premier martial arts school. Let me see. I bought one in LA, one in San Antonio, one in Arizona, and one in where is it? Um, LA, San Antonio, Arizona. It's missing one somewhere else. Was that? Was
How do you find these schools to buy?
people reach out to us, landlords that we have a good reputation. Obviously, we pay our bills, and then they are landlords that calling us and say, "I had this." We're negotiating one in Las Vegas right now, and then there are also, unfortunately, these uh, premier martial art owners that they don't know nothing about martial art that they bought it and now they like, oh shoot, I need to find a way to get out of this. You know.
Okay, so a landlord calls you and says, "Hey, these people are going
Yeah.
under,"
Yeah.
and then how do you staff it and find a partner? You staff it yourself, or do you find a partner? Or how do you?
No, I mean, let's say in Arizona, in Arizona, we have a landlord call us and they say that they were renting this place for a premier martial art and they default before they started, and then they had all the mats, all the everything, and they call us and then they say, okay, I take it, and we took it. But I had people there. Usually, I take portion of my personal income, a portion of the school income, and I dedicate it to the bench, to,
Right.
to always keep extra people. And we train. I mean, I'm sure everybody claims that they train, but we train our people more than I don't think anybody in the industry train their people more than what we train our people.
I would challenge you on that, and I would
Oh,
love to hear what
yeah.
you're doing. Because if you're doing more, I'm going to start doing more. I'll challenge you. I'll challenge you to that and golf.
Okay.
That sounds
All
good.
right. I take both of them. I don't do it myself, but I have a very good group of people that train in our people. Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
so somebody says, "Hey, do you want to buy this school?" They defaulted. Are you absorbing any instructors, or you're taking your bench strength and moving it over there?
I have situations where we inherit some instructor and was good. I remember one of my best school in Las Vegas. I bought it from a former partner of mine that then he was he was owning in a school and wasn't doing that good, and I bought his school, and then he has an assistant instructor that stay with us, and today she's one of our best manager in Las Vegas. But most of the time it's hard for the people from other culture, I would say, just to assimilate our culture. Culture is very,
When
very.
is your next? When is your retreat? When is your conference?
Our
Next,
convention is in June,
any
and
chance that I can come to it?
absolutely, yeah. We
I would love
actually,
to come.
we actually, we usually charge more because we don't want just everybody just to come. But I was talking to my people, um, and say because see, information is not a secret. Information you can get anywhere. Like we were talking with your brother, with Matthew before, is the leadership, is the culture, is the environment, is the connection, is the love, is many other things. But
Our
our
retreat is in May. I wish it was reversed so I can go to yours first and see if there's
oh,
any
it's all right.
changes to what I do.
Then I like I said, I flying to San Jose. I coming back. I'm gonna be in New Zealand and Samoa, and then Hawaii, and then I coming back the 26th. And our let me see, just our convention start. I think it start the 7th. You would love to, both of you and everybody that want to come. I think they used to be like we charge like $3,000 for two-person to come, and then we're gonna be more flexible now that for people. I think it's like $500 per person or something like that. Yeah, it's starting is Friday the 7th, Saturday the 8th, and Sunday the 9th of June. And what I do is 3 days. I mean, what happened in the convention is like we basically open our doors to that way people can see how we train our people, how we train our instructor, how we train our program directors, and then we do a black belt testing, high rank testing, how we test our high ranks. uh, Also we had a tournament on a Saturday, how we do the tournament, because the tournament is a little bit different. We are not tournament oriented school at all, but we do it for more interaction. Then we have what we call the Night of Champions, and the night time where it's a competition of demo teams from all around the country. Friday night, this is not included, but we do a dinner gala for our team members that, and we give the prizes for the school of the year, the program director of the year, the instructor of the year, and we usually give a Rolex to the school, the director that has the most profit in the year before. Um, is then we usually have special speakers that come in. Then yeah, but this year, beside that, what Grandmaster Clara and me, we're gonna be meeting with the visitors if there are school operators that coming from outside Victory, and we're gonna the first day I think we're teaching or sharing how we do multiple school. Another day how we train our instructors or team members, and another day how we do the administration, payroll, and everything else. That way, because it's not I don't have any secret. I mean, I see a lot of stupidity in our industry of how people pay their people, or how you know they coming with concept like oh, I give my instructor 100% of the private lessons for somebody, and I hope you're not doing that. But I think it's like kicking yourself on where, because it's like if you give your instructor 100% of the private lessons, they don't have any interest to help you to teach class or to grow the school. They're just gonna take your student charge for private lesson,
Of
and it's
course.
so many things. I read I read a lot of the people's answer and the advice that people give to other people, and I go like, like I wish you don't tell these people to do that, and anyway, yeah, we just
Well, that's why
share
you have 49 schools and they probably have one struggling school. All right, so wait, go back. So June 7th to the 9th?
yes,
What
yeah,
days of the week is that? Is that like Friday,
I
Saturday, Sunday? Or
it's on Sunday, yes,
all
and
right,
it's
so if I come in like if I it's in Orlando or somewhere in
yes,
Florida?
Orlando is at the Shing or Rosen. I can if you go to it's a shoot it's I think it's called the Victory War Convention face website. It's a website called
All
Victory
right,
War
I'm
Convention.
in.
Yeah,
But if I come early, we'll golf.
say that again. Sorry.
If I come in early, we're gonna golf.
Yeah, you can, and it's a golf course there at the convention. I mean, at the hotel also that we usually play anyway. And I
All
can tell Master Clark to come early. He like to play also. And I have
right,
some of
awesome.
my partners that love play golf. Then you're very welcome to do that.
All right, I think Mr. Brenner is going to ask us more questions. I feel like we've
Yes.
gotten off topic. You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. Yes.
I mean, I think there can't be one thing, but number one is I'd want to truly know the training, methodology, and I'm sure, of course, we think we train everybody more than anybody else in the world. I'm sure there's things that they're doing that are better than us, so I'd want to like understand and see it so that I can be like, oh, here's a point that we might be missing. So it won't be the training because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is developing instructors, right? That's really the entire ball of wax.
Then
That'd be
I described to you the only time when I'm in town, the only time coming to my office is on Monday. Um, and this is not to brag about it. I just telling you that's what. Then on Monday, because I'm so passionate about what I do, I don't know. I usually wake up early in the morning, like 5, 6 o'clock on Monday. And when my wife is in town, she's in Africa right now in a safari with a bunch of ladies. But when she's in town, I usually she's still sleeping. I sit down and write my plan for the day, what I'm gonna do, what I need to take care, and then we eat something, or we I don't. I usually have a coffee, and then we go to yoga from 9 to 10, and then I go back home, and then around 11:30 I come to the office and maybe meet with somebody, and then at 12:30 I do like 30 to 45 minute a live lesson type for my team nationwide. They all Zoom meeting from 12 to 12:30. Everybody meet with their team individually. Like if they are at school, like some of them they had 3 or 4 school under them, and they meet, or they had just one school. They meet for from 12 to 12:30. At 12:30, they enter in a nationwide meeting where I basically give a message. Today, for example, the message was uh, I associate Bruce Lee with how Bruce Lee used to become friends with anybody that win the championship, and if Chuck Norris winning, he become friends with Chuck Norris. Mike Stone coming, Jun Ree, he was to learn from them, and that was my message. How you when you see somebody have the results that you want, you need to go and meet that person and ask them how they do it. Uh, from that was from then that was from 12:30 to like 12, 12 1:30, and then my top people, I had a board of director, they give more direction on what we need to aim, what is the goal for the month. At 2 o'clock today I have a meeting with my partners, and we talk more about finance, about how to cover the cost, how to spend their money, what they need to cut the cost, what's more financial. At 2:30, my daughter has a presentation at theater, and I went there. Usually, I do it from 2 to 3, and then I don't have nothing to do, or I talk to my COO, and that's then the training tomorrow from 1 to 2 o'clock. One of my top people gonna be training the school that they underperforming, and usually they are the program directors. Then Wednesday is going to be a training that if I'm in town, I do it from 11 to 12 about instruction. And then from 12 to 1, I talk to the program directors if I'm in town. And at the time, the instructor stay with my chief of instruction from 12 to 1, and they practice more on how to teach the class planners, how to adjust, preparing for black belt testing or whatever. On Thursday, again, whichever schools that they are underperforming, they meet again, a Zoom meeting nationwide, they go over something in particular. On Friday, the it's not mandatory, but some of my top instructors offer tips on how to teach better classes. That's individually from every school that they have their legacy, their instructors training. Um, they do Friday night training. They do Saturday afternoon training. That's independent of individual school training their own people. But that's basically. Then 3 times a year we have major trainings. One in March, one in June or July, and one in September. And that's regionally, like in March, the East Coast meet one place, and then the West Coast meets another place. In June, everybody meet here in Orlando, and then in September, East Coast meet in one place for 2 days. And yeah, that's describing a little bit the training that we had.
Minimal. So Monday morning, 9 a.m. Everybody's on a Zoom call. All the partners, all the head instructors, all the enrollment directors, and our COO is running. I'm on there. Is running them through like things that kind of have to happen for the week. Sometimes they're actually doing work, like they're texting people. Sometimes they're doing stuff. Sometimes they're just setting it up, and that's usually about 30 to 40 minutes. The new schools at the end, there's a second meeting at around 9:45 where the newer schools report in their stats, and they just like rattle off their stats super fast as a way to just be kind of held accountable, and then we know who to talk to. Tuesday is all about 9 a.m. is retention, so everybody's on the call. And we're going through like case studies for retention. Like Joey wants to quit. This is how many times we talked to him in the past. This is what we should have done. This is what we could have done. This we could have done in the past, in the future, or whatever. And then we break up into teams, and every school talks about something, and they kind of mastermind, like some retention issue. And then Wednesday at 9 a.m. is like sales and marketing. So that could be having like whoever's, if we have like an outside organization on, they might come on and, talk about what they're doing for us for marketing. It might be what we should be doing on Facebook. It might be, I don't know, anything to do with sales and marketing. It might be, yeah, it might be zero basing, like how to do an info call, or zero basing how to do an enrollment. Also, maybe like this little section. Might be how to get along with your partner better, something kind of do
Mhm,
with sales and
mhm.
marketing. So that's Wednesday. Thursday is training. So we all train together every week on Zoom, but they have to be in a school with other people. So they need partners to work with. It can't just be like one person in their kitchen. They have to be there. Um, and then once a month, we're all together. Like they have to come to the original school. We all actually train physically together. But usually out of the 30 schools, like 6 or 7 of the schools normally have people in the, I'm teaching, and it's like on a Zoom screen, but they'll have 5 to 10 people in the room with them.
Right.
So that's Thursday, and then we were doing almost every month, but now we're going to once a quarter. We do certifications of how to teach class.
Hmm.
That's been a big game changer for us.
Sure.
So each class has a different certification. So like the little 3 to 6 year olds, 7 to 12 year olds, adults, and then one for enrollment directors. So that happens every quarter. That's this Saturday, and that's happening at I don't know how many schools. Probably like 9 of our schools will do it, and then everybody will have to go to like one of those schools, and that's always creating new instructors. And then they're required to do. They do their own quarterly training at their schools at the beginning of every new cycle.
Okay.
What else happens?
That's for sure much more than the 90% of the people, and not just in martial art but in the industry in general. That's the reason you're excelling. Yeah, it's training, training, training.
And then we have our retreat in 2 weeks. We have our retreat, and all the head instructors will go to that. Um, And then each school does what we call a micro meeting, which is a 15-minute leadership meeting, whatever day they want to do it. It's like 15 minutes, one day a week for whoever's on their leadership team.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent. Amazing. And you do all of them, or you had other people helping you?
I don't know if you've met Sensei Michael, but he really does the majority of it for like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday meetings. And then each school we also require them to not require. I think require is a bad word. We also suggest they do it right. Like the only way. So one of the things that we talk about is in the ideal world, you have two things. You have financial freedom and you have time freedom, right? So if you have time without money, that doesn't make any sense. What are you going to do with yourself? And if you have money but no time, what are you going to do with that? None of it
Yeah.
makes any sense. So you
Yeah.
really need both. And the only way to get the time freedom is to give other people the opportunity to do what we do. And eventually they'll work their way out of it. But in the beginning, like, they're learning it and they're doing it. So there has to be, and if you ever get sick or you get abducted by aliens, you
Yeah.
need to have a team.
Sure. Great. Then who was it? Who was your inspiration? Who? Because look like you're doing everything right. Who was your mentor, your inspiration, or where you learned the concept to do it? Because you are an anomaly to the martial art world.
I think I've always kind of been businessy, right? So I've always loved business in general. And you talk about like Anthony Robbins and Ray Dalio, like I've read all the same books.
Okay.
Um, and in the martial arts world, Master Kovar visits us 2 to 4 times a year. It was 4 times a year
Oh,
for
right.
like 10 years, and then now it's like maybe like 2 to 4 times a year. Chris Rappel visits us. Melanie Schumann
Mhm.
visits us. Like, so and truly you were one of the inspirations of Master Clark. I mean, I was at all the seminars with Fred Mertens. I was
Oh,
there. You probably don't remember me being there, but I was like, the 23-year-old in the background taking notes, going, "I'm going to do what they do."
great,
So
great.
I've always loved Master Clark and you.
Yeah.
Um, so it's really taking, and I also think everybody lives in their own little world in the martial arts. Like you said, like, oh, we're going to pay for private lessons, or, like one of my goals is that a martial arts instructor, if like your son or daughter came home and said, I'm going to marry a martial arts instructor, I want you to go, yes. I don't
Hmm.
want you to be like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when somebody says my daughter or son's going to marry a doctor, everybody's so proud. Like, oh, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer. That's like nonsense. That's like
Yeah.
complete nonsense.
All
If you
it's one with
if
you.
you're on our team, you make equal money and have way better lifestyle.
Yeah. 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 Perfect. Then what is your goal?
That's a good question. I'm naturally competitive, so now it's to have 50 schools. Um, as an organization, we talk about our mission is to have 50,000 students total. We have like probably 6,000 now. Like obviously making more money is always fun. Like anybody who says like I don't care about the money, I always just think is acting silly. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make, like, to me at least, doesn't like make any sense. But also at the same time, I also agree with you. I'm not doing anything I don't want to do, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So I really believe there's got to be an impact in the martial arts, and I think there could be a change. And like I said before, like in the way people, like most people view us like bums, right? Like people, like well, if I say to somebody, "Oh, I teach martial arts," they'll say to me, "Oh, do you have another job? What else do you do?"
Hmm.
Like I want to say, oh, I make way more money than you, and I have way more freedom than you, but
Hmm.
they don't see that. So I think changing the industry, and I know that's probably a pretty lofty goal, but maybe it like starts with us, and then the younger people like Mr. Brenner and those younger people will, they'll do better than us. Um, so that's a goal, and I think there also could be. I think what you're doing is actually the ideal situation, which is having all the partners and stuff like that can change the industry so dramatically. And I think eventually somebody's going to figure out like a chain that has, obviously the ATA has done something pretty phenomenal. But like, 500 schools, 1,000 schools doing kind of what we're doing, but 10 times. Somebody's going to figure it out. And I always think, why can't it be me? Or why
Yeah.
can't it be us?
The thing is that I don't want an association, because the association actually is just an association. You really uh, the people that being with you not for conviction, it's just for the benefit of the association. I don't want that. Like ATA is an association. There are many associations. I want to make a brand that people want to belong and want to own it. Uh, Belonging is one thing, but own it is another thing. I want people to have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to really own it and feel the I would say the financial freedom through a system, and that's the reason that people say, oh, why you don't have your own association, why you don't make. I don't want an association is like what they're gonna pay you. I mean, I was looking here, what is it, I was looking, I don't know, my first quarter, and this I'm a little bit all time. I still keeping all my my profit and loss and everything here. And actually, some people say Master von Schmeling is the only person I work with is profit and loss book. But I have, I don't know, I if I go to Vegas, I have in a school in the first quarter the profit like let me see, this is $125,000. You know, and that's like 40,000 over $40,000 profit per month in one school.
Yep.
For me to have somebody, I have one of my I think in Arizona, this school profit $130,000 in 3 months. Then that's that, then for me to have $130,000 profit, I have to have so many schools that pay me $300, and then if I have an association, you understand what I mean? I
Of
just
course, I understand. Yes.
that I cannot conceive. That's like a such a small business. I don't want to serve 1,000 people for $200 or $300 or whatever, you know. And these people, the reason that they want to be part of the association many times because they don't know really how to run their business, or they are tournament oriented, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just I just don't really believe that the tournament system and martial art is the way to go, because in America, when I came to America, everybody played baseball, and there are billions of dollars invested in baseball and football, American football, then basketball, soccer for girls. I mean, my granddaughter plays soccer and she's crazy about the soccer, and they're gonna compete. Everything is like, if you go to Paraguay or Brazil and say you're gonna pay to play soccer, they're gonna laugh, because nobody paid to play soccer. Just like in America, you don't play to play you don't pay to play basketball. Anybody can play basketball anywhere. Um, then I believe martial art is to enhance sports, but I believe martial art is much more than that. It's actually teaching a lifestyle, a behavior transformation. Then that's what I aim for, is that behavior transformation. I want to be the person that teach these kids to have such a high level of self-esteem that they don't need to blame on anybody, and they learn to have compassion. That way they don't have to be yelling to each other like our college kids uh, right now doing in America. They just yelling each other. If you don't believe what I believe, you are a terrorist, or you are a genocide. It's just a belief. They don't even have idea. It's just their belief, because and people using it. If I can teach this kid to have compassion, to have self-esteem, to have appreciation, to to have more joy and more love. And I don't see how in a tournament system I can teach that. In the tournament system, most of the kids, the physical capable kid is the champion, and the other one is the loser. And if you had 20 people in that, the first place is the champion and 19 loser. I have a hard time to to believe in that. Even so, I win 90% of the tournament I ever compete in my life. But that's not the reason I feel a champion. I feel a champion when I can love people, feel compassion, enjoy people, accept people, be able to help people, do charity, uh, give job to people. Then I feel a champion. The other way, the medals, who remember after? Unless you have broken ribs, it's taking you a little bit longer. You know.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, because you don't really know they own the school, or they just have an association, or they. I mean, no, nobody want to talk about money. That's another issue with our industry. Nobody want to talk about it. They say, "Oh, I have this many people, but or I gross in this much," but nobody even talk about the profit and the margin. And many people don't even know margin or how to read a profit and loss. I was talking in one event last year, and I say how many you can read a profit and loss very well, and from 100 people, maybe it was 7, 8 people that raised their hand, and maybe they didn't raise their hand because they were afraid to say, okay, I asking them some question, and they will be embarrassed. But if you want to think different, you need to get out of your industry. If and if I want to impact my industry, I need to get out of my industry. I need to get out of there and see other business, because our business is nothing different than the other business, you know. But the people that they are in martial art, they think in martial art is very unique. It's not unique. It's just like any. I mean, there are three principles in business. You need to have new clients. You need to charge more to your client, and you need to keep them longer. That's for every. I mean, if you're a hotel or a restaurant, it's the same thing. If you, whatever is, you have to have new members always. You need to charge your new members more every time. Meaning, I mean, you need to increase your. We increase by at least 10% every year our prices, because the real inflation is more than 10%. Even so, the government tells you 3.5%. That's not true at all. Just with groceries and gas is at least 10 to 15%. Then then I need to charge them more, and then I need to keep as long as if they stay for 7 months, I need to keep them for 8. That principle is, I think it's Jay Abraham. That is they call him the guru, marketing guru. Is a principle that is universal for any business. Then if I think different because I hang out with different people, if I hang out just with these people, then my mind will stay in the same. It's just like you have to. It's like the reason I like to travel is because when you travel, you see different culture. You appreciate totally different thing. You know, I've been to over 90 countries, and there are fantastic people everywhere in the world. Sometimes we think in America, I love America, and I'm in America by choice, and I think this is the best country in the world, no doubt. But there are some fantastic things about humans and societies outside the United States that we should learn.
Well, I agree with everything that Mr. Von Schmeling said. You have to purposefully hang out with people that are smarter than you. You have to put yourself, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You legit, when I started doing angel investing, I feel like my skill set is finding smarter people and hanging out with them, whether it's going out to lunch, coffee, um, golfing, like whatever. And then living by truly like all the principles that we legitimately teach every day, like can I, like content and never ending improvement, like legitimately waking up every day saying like, how do I get better physically, mentally, emotionally? How do I do that for our students? And then looking at each one of our partners and saying the same thing, like, how do I help them get out of their own way? Like a lot of times you see potential in people that like, they might not see it in themselves. So I think it's can I, and then the other quote that I think that we're so good at is I can have everything in life I want if I help enough other people get what they
Six
want.
Figures. Mhm.
And this and the smaller bricks is teaching individual students. And this has always been like one of my pet peeves, Master Von Schmeling, is when we go to seminars and we're supposed to be like in the higher level room, like with martial artists, and they're talking about how to get more students. And I'm like, okay, guys, we got to talk about how to open more schools. We got to talk about like bigger things than how to open the next 10 schools, not how to like enroll in, like if you're still thinking about how do I enroll another student, like okay, that room might be over there, like you might need to do that, but that's not like high level thinking. That's like
Mhm.
basic stuff that is like the beginning. So I think it's those things. It's can I, how to help other people. And really the other thing I think that makes our organization significant, that again he already talked about, is I put myself in everybody's shoes. Like when I offer somebody a partnership or whatever, I always ask myself, would I take this deal? Like, and I feel like I'm pretty sophisticated at this point for doing it for so long. Would whether it was through angel investing or this, would I do it? And if the answer is yes, then I present it. Like I also don't negotiate like any of our stuff, right? Like when we're partners with somebody, there's no negotiation on like if we're selling a piece of a school, here's the price, either want it or you don't. But when I give them the price, it's not like it's inflated. I actually think I'm selling it for too low, but I want them as a partner, so
Mhm.
I'm offering them what I would accept from the beginning,
Yeah.
and I put myself in their shoes from the very beginning. So I'm not like, oh, this is what we want, but oh, we'll come to here. Here it is. That's it. That's I've already negotiated for you, because I want you as my business partner, and I'm not going to negotiate against my future business partner. We're on the same side. You're just buying in.
I would say how to prepare more instructors, because yeah, because see, the biggest asset we have is the instructors, and the 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 perception of society of martial art is so, not from me. I mean, my friends, they thinking I'm living in heaven because I can go to play golf every day, or I can travel around the world, I can do whatever I want. But in general, society have a perception that martial arts people, they are not professional. Just like when you're gonna have another job, or what did you really do? But they think in a doctor or a lawyer, or a chiropractor, or a nurse, or a CPA. That's a real profession, because that's what that was the infusion of the knowledge that they gave us in the early 1900s to be able to serve a group of people. Then, if I had the skills to convey to young people that if you train martial art and you learn how to teach, I can train in you, you're gonna have a fantastic career. That skills, and maybe it's a little bit my scarcity on financial. That's the reason that I'm glad you asked that, because my goal is, if you read, there are many books about the uh, fathers of the America, the new America, the modern, like, let's say, J.P. Morgan, and Andrew Carnegie, and Pullman, Vanderbilt, Henry Ford, um, Rockefeller, all these people, right? What they did, basically, what they did. This is my goal that I would like to do someday. Is like, those people they meet, and basically they create a, a group, and they basically they control America, and maybe the world. Okay. And JP Morgan lend money to the country, I mean, until now, I guess they are involved in the Federal Reserve and things like that. Then, what if we do this in martial art? What if we take big names on the martial art, and we meet and say, let's build martial art as the industry where really the the perception and the society in America perceive martial arts as a real profession. And for that, you need people like you both. You need people like Dave Kovar, Stephen Oliver, and people like just Greg Horton, or there are many great, Grandmaster Clark, of course, that they want to do something bigger with more quality. Then we can offer real job, and then we can really create instructors and training them on the business, and training them on the instruction, and then we can open schools in the whole country, and have a real schools, not little. That's something that I would love to do. Why we don't do? No, I say, why we don't do it. Usually it's ego and vanity and insecurities, and but I would love to put a group of 20, 30. I don't know, we have 30, but at least 20 great, good operators and good minds in the martial art, and say, hey, let's do uh, I talked to a couple people before about this, and I think it's possible to do it. And the association is, have to be, the people have to have money, and I mean, you have to have a major interest. See, the association, like, I remember when I was one of the first people that started with Silverman to do Maya, and Master Clark and me, we went to meet with Mr. Dealer, and we're gonna start Maya, and Mr. Frank Silverman would be the director. I mean, it was great. But again, the reason that usually is because people pay $99 to be part of Maya, and they don't they go there and they listen to bunches. And what people do, which is I'm totally against, is people do a Frankenstein system. What does a Frankenstein system mean? Is they go, they listen to one, oh, I like this, then I like this, and then they coming back and they mix all what they like from, and they come into their school, and nothing has congruency. Like, oh, I like to do an introductory class like this, but I'm gonna sell this membership like this, but my class planner is gonna be like that. But marketing is gonna be like this, and the way we pay our instructors is gonna be like that, and doesn't have any congruency. At Victory, we have congruency from the moment we advertise to the moment that we upgrade, and the moment to somebody coming a 9-degree black belt has a congruency. And when you have an association, you cannot tell anybody what they need to choose because they pay and they can choose whatever they want. There are people that meet me and say, "Sir, I follow you and I do everything that you do." I go like, "You don't even know what I do. I just given a speech one time. You assuming they don't know. I'm sure that happened the same with you guys." Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's creating great instructors. So I always think, it's, well, but I think it's more of, if it's a skill set of mine, like I look at other people, like a Steve Jobs or a Warren Buffett, or I don't know, Jeff Bezos, and I always think to myself, like, what's the difference between me and them? Well, they somehow see the world in a better way than I do, right? At the end of the day, they see it differently, and for some reason, I can't see where the instructors are. Like, right, like we have more instructors than most people, right? But during COVID, Jeff Bezos and his team hired 100,000 people. 100,000. You know what I mean? Like we're dealing with 200 instructors. They're dealing with 100,000. So like,
Yeah.
how does he see these people? How does he identify them, and how do they identify him? Like it's just a different. He's able to somehow see the world in a different way than I do, right? And it's the same thing with everybody else. Warren Buffett didn't start off rich. Like he saw things, and I like investing, but I can't see it the way he sees it for some reason. So I think it's having somehow figuring out where that pool of people really are. That would, like, even when I see people like disadvantaged people, or people, like just recently I was talking to someone about like when people transfer from military service out of military service, and they were like, and I was like, those people would be great for us. Like we have some of them now, but like, what if action karate became an option to them when they came out? Like they took like a little placement test, which I think they do, and then it was like, oh, action karate training might be something that would be a good career choice for you. If it made sense for them, they're already disciplined, they're already used to like following directions, they're used to a system. So like, again, that's just like an example that hasn't worked out for us yet. But like, where are these people? And again, I'm just not there yet, seeing the right pool of people. And we've done it locally in Bucks County too, but like maybe we're not doing it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, again, if he hired 100,000 people, then we should be able to figure out a way to open 5 more schools. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. GMVS, Gene Grandmaster VS is von Schmeling at victoryma.com.
Like, I mean, if they want to email me, I guess they can, actionkarate45 at Gmail. Or they can just Google search me, and I'm sure they'll find me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or something. Happy to chat with anybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you. Bye.